Hello guys, this is Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM Reacts, episode number 497. And today we'll be reacting to Purple Roads episode 22. And we're reacting to this beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm Carrie Stinson, and my journey through life has been quite an adventure. For over 20 years, I played Barney the Dinosaur on tour, and 7 seasons of the hugely popular TV show, Barney and Friends. Now my journey is to bring together friends and guests from all over the entertainment world for inspiring and at times amusing behind-the-scenes conversation. I'm Carrie Stinson, and this is Purple Roads.
Welcome, Purple Roads fans, to a very special episode. I am so excited to have my good friend, Julie Johnson. You know her voice as Baby Bop. Julie, how are you?
Hi, Carrie. How are you? I miss you. I've missed you so much all these years. But it was just a while ago. It was just a while.
Not that long. Not that long.
Wow.
My gosh, it's so good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm great. I've been doing a lot of theater and mostly theater since we wrapped the last Barney show, and traveling a lot. And just recently, I was out with Come From Away, the Broadway musical. We were out on the international tour, Canada and U.S. And we had a little hiatus right now because we all need to take care of ourselves and do the right thing and stay home and stay healthy. So that's what we're doing, and we look toward picking it back up in the fall. But we will be back on the road with Come From Away and coming to so many cities in the U.S. We'd already been out for 2 years, so we got at least another 2 years to go. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I first of all, I hear it's an amazing show, and I want to see it when you. I'm out in Fort Worth now, so when you come to Fort Worth, I got to come out and see you.
We're coming to Bass Hall at some point. Maybe we're scheduled right now or possibly later. But yeah, we will absolutely be there. But I had mentioned this to you earlier. I have met so many people in my business now, the business of theater and musical theater in particular, who were huge Barney fans as children and said that the song and the dance and the music is what really stimulated them and kind of guided them toward wanting to be performers. So we had a lot of good times and a lot of good influence on a lot of sweet kids that are now really, really raucous adults.
Yes. Well, I remember, I think my first time meeting and working with you was New York, Radio City Music.
Yeah. Not a bad place for your debut, eh?
I know. And I have such fond memories of you. You kind of showed me New York for the first time.
I did.
I don't know if you realized that, but I got to see New York really for the first time through your eyes.
Right. I was living up there part-time then too. I was in Dallas, and New York both, and we did. There was hardly a piece of sidewalk in New York that we didn't find ourselves stumbling across.
Yeah, and I remember we went to go see Tommy.
We did. We saw Tom. Oh, that was one of my favorite musicals. And supposedly there's a new production coming back.
Really?
But I loved going. Yeah, I loved going to see Tom. Yeah, Broadway's going to pick right back up where it had to take a pause. And there are exciting new pieces in the works. And one of them is a new production of Tommy. And that was one of my favorite shows that I had ever seen. And I always went and just got standing room only tickets. I think that's what you and I did, because who wanted to sit down during Tommy?
No.
You want to be able to stand up and dance and enjoy it.
Well, and I was just in so much awe of being on Broadway. I mean, that was my first time to be to a Broadway show. I think I saw Guys and Dolls on that trip, and then I saw Tommy with you.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
So you and I will be
I've forgotten that.
Well, I think we're going to find all kinds of memories.
I've forgotten a lot of things.
I know.
Some of them purposeful.
Yes.
Alt delete.
Yes. But you and I are going to be able to go. But I do want to have a few questions because how did you, I guess let's start from the beginning of just getting in as a performer.
Wow.
Who's your start?
Well, the very first time I thought about wanting to be an actress, I literally saw at age 3 a musical at the Dallas Summer Music Hall with Carol Burnett playing Calamity Jane in a musical called Calamity Jane. And my mother had dressed me up in one of my Easter dresses, and we went down there to see this musical. And she had told me in the car, now listen, you have to be very quiet. We don't want to disturb people around this. And if you're not quiet,
Wow.
you'll have to leave. She always laid it out to me. I knew what my behavior was supposed to be when I got to go do things at age 3, like see your first musical. And so at the intermission, she said, I looked up at her and said, are they coming back? And she said, yes, they're coming back. She said, you never said another word. And at the end of it, she looked at my face and went, oh, Lord, what have I done? She knew, she saw it on my face at age 3 that was exactly what I wanted to do. And she was a musician, and we performed a lot for Rotary clubs and Lions clubs, singing and, you know, entertaining people here in my hometown and around it for a 100-mile radius. And and then I went to Austin College, graduated from there with a theater degree, did theater there, came right into the Dallas market. And at that time, the Dallas market for theater, commercial, television was really, really hopping. And I got to do a lot of theater. And I got a call from my agent about an audition for she said, there's this purple dinosaur video thing. And I didn't have children. I had no idea. And she said, I think you should go in for it. And I was doing Nonsense at the time, playing Sister Mary Amnesia. And Amnesia kind of had this little kind of flighty, you know, voice that I had given her. And went into this audition. All these women were there doing children's voices, and they sounded so real. And I had had an 8-show week, so I kind of sounded like this. When I got there, I thought, well, I might as well leave. I'm never going to get cast as a kid, you know. And so then I went in and I saw Dennis DeShazer and all the people that were involved and sitting around that table. And I looked at the costume and I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do here, but I'm going to make that sound that a 2 or 3-year-old makes in a mall when they got to have that toy in the window of the shop, and they're not going to survive if they don't get it. So that's where this came from. That's what I did.
Wow.
I did that first right off the bat as the voice. They all turned really red, and Dennis put his head down on the table. And then I thought, okay, I either got it or they're about to kick me out of this room. I don't know which is happening here. And then, you know, what, a couple of 3 years later, you came along?
Yeah.
And, or 4, whatever it was. And that's
wow.
You know, kind of my background, just doing theater and especially in a market like this. Well, in New York too, you audition for everything you can get your hands on.
Right.
You audition for commercials and film and TV and stage, because you got to have some of those gigs that pay a little money, the commercials and things, in order to support your theater habits, so you can continue to do theater and not have to worry about paying the bills.
And you started from the beginning. I mean, you're the only voice that ever did Baby Bop.
Wow.
That was the first video that they tried, because they had Barney in several where it was just Barney and the kids, and Sandy Duncan was the mom in some of them, and they thought, we're going to try a new character. And they did it here at the Majestic Theater, Barney live at the Majestic, and she came out of a big birthday box.
Yes,
they, you know, because they weren't
the one in the Majestic. Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
I've heard a lot about that show.
Yeah, there were. But anyway, yes, the dancer was very much into it. That was in the costume.
Yes.
She
yes,
but they realized
Baby Bop was tall, right?
She was tall. Yeah, she was almost as tall as Barney.
Wow.
And so when we did it, they weren't sure. You know, they said this is probably just a one-time thing, because they weren't sure whether the kids even wanted to see another dinosaur. You know, they were all so into Barney.
Wow.
And I didn't hear anything for a while, and I thought, oh well, that was fun. You know, it was nice. And I remember sitting with Bob West down in one of the dressing rooms where we had our booths set up, and watching these little ones as they were doing shots all over the audience. When Barney was singing "I Love You," these little ones singing it along and like weeping like the teenage girls on Ed Sullivan reaching for the Beatles. You know, if you've seen that old 1960s footage.
Oh
my!
Like,
no, don't go! You know. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is there's something really amazing going on here. Didn't hear about it for a while, and then my mom, my mom, who was always my best champion, my mom called me. She said, "Well, I saw an article that Barney has been picked up by PBS. Are you going to
Wow.
get it?" And I said, "I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it." And literally, they called about 3 days later. So thanks to my mom, I was hoping for a call, and that's how that's how it all happened. It was just it was one of those things of good fortune and being in the right place at the right time and having a highly irritating voice to adults, but kids loved her.
Mm-hmm.
So you do the first season, and then ultimately, and I don't think a lot of people know this, that first season, the show was canceled.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were all like, "Oh well, that was fun." And I mean, have you had anybody tell the story? Mothers all over the nation started writing in saying, "What do you mean you are canceling this? You will not cancel this. It's my only chance to take a shower and load the dishwasher. So you will put that back on the air." I mean, they said
Exactly.
they got letters both pleading and almost threatening of get Barney back on the air because my kid loves it and my child loves it, and they pay attention and we caught we caught a little market there of age group that was too young. I know that Cheryl talked about when she was in the creative process, her children were a little too young yet for the fabulous Sesame Street. It moved a little fast for them, and they needed the repetition. She went for that 1.5 to 3-year-old. Again, daddy, again, mommy. Repeat it, and that's what we did. And so there were of course parents that thought, "Oh, it's so repetitive," but hey, that's how your 2-year-old learns.
Right.
And
Wow.
So yeah, we were brought back with a kind of a whoops, we might have made a mistake phone call that came in to our producers. So then we started back, and how many seasons? I'm trying to remember how many seasons we were on.
Well, see, and you did the first. I didn't come until season 7.
Right.
You did the first 6, and goodness gracious.
Yeah. And we did what, 4 or 5 more after that?
Oh, I think more than
or
that.
longer.
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
120 more shows.
Oh wow. Wow.
So, don't worry on this show. We do the best we can with memory, but everything. There's some things that I'm still coming back, and trust me, the fans know. So if we miss something, they'll let us know.
Yeah, according to my knowledge, it was 268. Can't go from 269 though. Continue on.
Yes, I do the best I can with memory now too, but my memory card seems I've hit delete on several things evidently. But I was trying to think, but yeah, we were on for many seasons. That was just amazing. It was a phenomenon because a lot of people actually in the business, didn't think it would last, and just shows you when a 2-year-old wants something, mommy and daddy get it for them.
Right.
Wow.
I talk about this a lot on this show about being a proud Texan, and I don't know anyone prouder Texan than who I'm talking to right here than you, Julie. Do you think it was important that the show was done in Texas and not done in California or New York, and that we were done as a small show like this?
Yeah, that's interesting. I do think the fact that probably the production costs were lower in Texas helped, and there was just a lot of talent in Dallas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they specifically went for kids who didn't have long resumes, since 1.5 with an agent, a 6-year-old with an agent. They went for real kids because they wanted that feeling of real kids. And of course, we ended up also introducing Demi Lovato and
Wow.
Selena Gomez to the world. But even when they were there, they were not, they weren't those super polished LA young actors. They were real kids. And
Wow.
I think that had a lot to do with it. And we look at all of our good camera people and our costume people, and we were all a family. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen in LA. I'm sure it does.
Right.
But we all just went home to our little pink houses or our apartments or whatever every day, and got to have just a real life. And I know that probably helped the production last longer because it kept the expenses down. And yet I think the product was it was obviously just what the 2 to 4 to 5-year-old market wanted.
Well, and I think it's authentic, right? The what's coming out of all of us, the actors and the performers and everyone involved with the show, we really cared about what we were doing. And we were very passionate about it. We understood we were doing something very important. And, you know, I remember the first time I saw a live audience. And do you remember that first show? Let's talk about New York for a second. Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah.
Sold out.
Sold out.
12 shows.
John Travolta and his son. His son was a huge Barney fan. John Travolta was there. I mean, how many stars did we have? They came and brought their children. And then I remember when we did the Barney movie, you know, we did its opening performance at Radio City Music Hall. And I was sitting next to Kelly Ripa and her husband, Mark. And I, you know, of course, I was like, that's Kelly Ripa. I love her. She was on my soap opera. And so I just leaned over. At one point, they had one of their children with them, and I leaned over and I said, I'm a huge fan. And she said, oh, thank you so much. She's very nice, but, you know, a little bit. And then somebody, Stephen or one of our writers, I think, was sitting behind me, leaned in, and he said, how does it feel to be a Radio City Baby Bop? And Kelly Ripa's head whipped around. She said, you're a Baby Bop? Oh my God, you're a star in my house. My children don't know what my husband and I do, but you are a star. And I thought, yeah, Kelly Ripa's talking to me. So it was, that was really, really cool. And just, I mean, I would have never gotten to play Radio City Music Hall if it weren't for Barney. I'm not a rockette. I don't have legs that long.
Exactly.
So that was my best. But we were under the stage. Do you remember where we were?
I do.
We were down in the basement with the elephant.
Wow.
That they walked across the stage every day. Kind of on PC now. I don't think we get to have a live elephant. But we were down there with the elephant and the hay.
With
down there.
complete star treatment.
Oh, absolutely. The voiceover people down there sneezing with the hay. But, you know, I mean, it couldn't have been any more fun.
You know, it's funny you say that about Kelly Ripa. That was one of the first things I learned is that celebrities are ultimately just parents. And I remember I was in the costume when John Travolta did the meet and greet in Kelly Preston. And I'm hugging John Travolta. And I'm, you know, freaking out. But I'm realizing he's just excited about his kid.
Yeah.
He's just a parent.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a neat thing of all the celebrities we all met over the years. They're just parents that love their kids.
Wow.
Yeah. Tom Selleck, we went down to Universal. Were you on that one? We went down to do the character counts videos. Okay. Yeah. Tom Selleck was down there with his daughter, and he was a big part of that. The character counts for kids, video presentations that were being done, and yeah, we got to work with some people, and they got to meet Barney and Baby Bop and BJ.
Yes. You know, and I don't know that I've told this on this show before, but I've told friends before, it surprises them that we actually never got through a full rehearsal of that show before we went live. Do you remember
that's
that?
Right. Oh my gosh. That's right. I'd forgotten that one too. Wow. But we did it.
We did.
That's the one with the Winkster.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we had David Voss on Purple Roads, and we talked about the Winkster.
Which already talked about in LJPCBM Reacts episode number 416. Continue on.
The love-hate relationship that the fans have with them.
Well, welcome to Barney World. You know, I mean, that's just gonna be. But the kids might have been a tiny bit scared of the Winkster. I don't know. It was so funny though.
I wasn't scared of the Winkster as a kid, but that was just me. Continue on this video.
The ones just loved Barney, and many of them did, like Santa. You know,
right.
Get up close and personal, realize that he was seemed like 11 feet tall and all that purple. They're like, oh, but then they kind of get over it. So.
Well, and I think that's why Baby Bop worked so well, because when Jeff joined in, and he was kind of that perfect hype for kids. They could just go right to Baby Bop.
Didn't seem so intimidating. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've talked about this before, and I've seen it with Baby Bop. You've got different levels, right? So you've got that level where you can be so excited and loud, but Baby Bop can also be quiet and sweet depending on the demeanor of the child.
Yeah.
Was that tough for you to? I mean, had you worked with kids before?
I hadn't, and I didn't have kids, and I'm an only child, and I had spent as little time as possible around
Man.
kids. No offense to kids,
Right.
and my parents were both teachers. So on the weekends, I'd say, "Can I have so and so over?" And then we spend all week with other people's kids. We are not filling our house with kids. So
Wow.
so I was like I was like one of those paintings of the children where they used to dress them as adults,
Right.
in the 1700s. It's kind of creepy looking. I was already a little adult. And so, yeah, so that for me, that whole world, I never thought about it. Oh, well, they're little, so they need less stimulation. They need a bit. I never approached it that way, and I don't think many people in the Barney organization did. We approached it as these are little people, and they
Right.
need they need these certain things. That we had great. We had a great research department, educational research department too, that really guided us so well on and why the repetition was so important, and why the color, and the music and everything was so important to children's learning, and children of all different ways of learning, whatever however their little minds worked. We did something geared toward many different ways of learning for children, and I do think that the music was huge. It was probably 80% of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Doing those sing-alongs, the music, and then those motions, right? Doing the Knickerbocker and all of those songs. To see all that was crazy.
Yeah.
To see a sold out Radio City, and they're all going Never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
I think one of the things people don't know about you, and I think what prepared you for all this is actor, musician, singer. I used to go do comedy, improv. Don't you think that all of those skills that you have really prepared you for where this Green Dinosaur went?
Well, the writers were kind enough, and also realized that for Patty, Bob, and myself, we all knew those characters really, really well, because they were from us, and so especially during rehearsal, we'd start our little trying our little ad libs in between, see what they liked, and what was maybe too much or whatever, but they were always, and they got to where the scripts would say, Baby Pop and BJ ad lib as they'd come on. They just go ahead and do your little things that you all do. But that was nice, because it gave it a sense of it coming organically, if you will, and of them being real, and getting to have their little brother and sister spat. But it's always, we always made sure things had a nice ending, because not every kid's home life all the time had a nice resolution to everything. So I do think there was real value in little ones being able to see, positive reinforcement, and and hopefully it settled in somewhere in that gray matter for them. So when they raised their children, they thought a little more positively about things. I mean, I am a parent. I did finally have my son, who's 21 now, and
I'm sorry. Excuse me a second. He's how old?
he's 21.
Wow.
I'm gonna need a moment.
Yes, you remember I was 15 when I had him.
Yes.
Yes, do that math. No, but I really wasn't 15, if anyone
Yeah.
much older than that. But he loved the music, and he's right now he works at the Granbury Opera House, down
Wow.
Granbury, and he plays guitar, and he played trombone, and picking up different instruments was second nature to him. And besides the fact that I was he was around a lot of musicians being with me at rehearsals and things, I think that had a lot to do with it early on. And he even got to do little walk acrosses, he did a couple of episodes as one of the kids leaving school kind of thing. But I never wanted to push him too hard into that, because that often doesn't work out well.
Wow.
They just gotta find it if if that's what their calling is,
Yeah.
they'll find it.
Absolutely. Whereas my parents couldn't keep me away from it.
Man.
Please get a teaching certificate. Please do something to fall back on. So, that was but they were always very proud. They were so thrilled about Barney. They felt like they could finally breathe easily because I had something almost as certain as being a teacher. And they also saw the value of that we were actually teaching,
Well, teaching and, the way those dinosaurs touch people's lives, I think still amazes me in a lot of ways. The messages, I get them, I know you get them. And people learned about love through those wonderful dinosaurs and all kinds of wonderful lessons.
I think the letters we would get from parents with children that are on the autism spectrum, that was so amazing to them when their child for the first time, and as Barney said, oh, let's get a hug, or give a hug, that they would come in and give it. And when they would write us letters describing that the whole event in their lives, I was in the kitchen and my child came up and threw his arms or her arms around me. That meant so much. That was just out of the simplicity of ending that show every episode with hugging and which we don't want to do right now. We don't want to hug right now. We want to do a nice social distance hug.
We can do it virtual. Yeah, we can do it
That's
virtual.
right.
Yeah.
But it was life-changing for a lot of people, and including those of us that worked on it.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know that I know the answer to this question, but did you know Patty Wirtz beforehand?
Yes, Patty and I had been in that production of Nonsense together.
Okay. Oh, really?
And we had worked together a couple of times at Casa Manana. We were both Dallas area actresses, and we saw each other a lot at Dallas Fort Worth. Saw each other a lot at auditions, and so yes, we had done the two different productions of Nonsense together. And she will probably remember that another production that I don't remember that we were in together, but we knew each other. Yeah, so that was a fun treat when they brought her on, because first year or 2 years was just Baby Bop and Barney, and then they brought BJ, and she was so good at it, so funny.
Did BJ debut at Radio City, or had he done a?
No, he had already been on. Yeah, his debut. She will know better than I. Was either the second or third season.
Okay.
Because I did let Baby Bop a couple of times on set go, I was very happy as an only child. Now why? Who is this? And she and I got to have a lot of fun with that whole idea. In between takes, that Baby Bop was not all that thrilled about the big brother, but she was. I was absolutely just elated to have her on the set with us because she's such fun.
Still.
I think I'm having flashbacks, having these headphones and hearing Baby Bop in my head again. It's bringing back what the memories here, Julie.
Yeah, that's why we always seem to run to a happy hour somewhere after work. Do you recall that?
I do. Yeah, people don't realize in between takes that you guys could mute and just the dinos would hear you. And everyone on the set, all they hear is dinosaur bodies laughing.
Oh,
The three of you.
there was one time something happened, and one of us said one of our in between for adult ears only comments, and somebody on the set said, "Mute dinos, mute, please." They were looking at us, and we all went, "Oh, crud, we'd forgotten our mute buttons." In fact, we didn't have mute buttons till Patty, I think, and then Patty and I started our little exchanges.
Yes.
And one day there was a technician in there screwing these things onto our where we kept our scripts, our stands. I went, "What are those?" And they said, "You're getting mute buttons." Oh, okay. I guess we need those in between takes. Yes, please use them. Please use them. So.
Well, especially when Jeff Brooks was there.
Ooh. Oh well.
Who played the body of BJ for a while.
Yes. With a laugh that you could hear for 1,000 miles.
Yes.
Wow.
And you guys like to get him.
Oh, we did. He was our number one target. Number one target.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like working with Jeff Ayers? He's a
Oh.
huge, we all just love him to death.
A dream. It's so funny because when you see Jeff Ayers with his muscled up and his burr haircut and walking down the hall, like he's a member of the Wrestling Federation. And then he got in that costume, and I would always tease him about, he definitely would get in touch with his feminine side because he pointed the toes and da-da-da-da, and then he'd come out of the costume and go, it's time for lunch. It's like a teamster inside the costume that suddenly turned into a precious 3-year-old little girl. So, and his kids, we got to watch his kids being born and brought into this world and brought into their lives, and that was wonderful too, because where there was no family, suddenly he had a lovely wife and 2 kids, and they were they loved Barney too. So we all went through a lot of life changes with each other.
We did.
Mm.
Did you talk about for you and Jeff? We'll talk about the TV show, Barney and Friends. Did you talk about stuff much? Did he tell you he was going to do something? Because a lot of people don't realize that you guys' mics were live, even on the songs. And so there was a lot of ad-libs and improv going on there. Did you guys kind of follow each other, or how did that go?
That was a lot of it. We called it Dino Sync because we all got to where we thought, the same process. We did. Jeff would think, I'll bet she's going to say something right here, and I would,
Right.
But a lot of times those things started being set too on Mondays at our Monday rehearsals. We'd start trying things out, and but then and every now and then, hit the mute button. Jeff, next take, I'm going to say blah blah blah, and the little green head would nod,
Right.
and and we'd do it that way. But it really was. It really was there was a lot of osmosis that went on there. We just kind of started to feel the characters and know what their little picadillos and their cute little quirks and little things they were going to do. And we just did them together. And we had the quad split monitors,
Right.
monitor feed, so we could see everything everywhere. Luckily we all had a certain amount of, I guess, attention deficit disorder because we could watch 4 things all at one time, and I don't think it's a disorder actually. It allows you to do a lot of things at once. But
add them to the resume. As an actor, you always want to add them to the resume.
I can watch 4 screens at one time. But so that was pretty much, we like I said, we developed into one brain with 4 legs and 4 arms. And so
it's fun that a lot of us and did other things on this. We all, I had my dad came on as an extra one time, and a lot of that. And I had one of our fans sent me a message the other day saying, "Did you work with? It was so cool that you worked with Mother Goose." Well, Mother Goose was you. It was you on the episodes that I worked with.
Yep.
Was that
there
fun
had been
for
an
you?
actress out of Houston that was Mother Goose for the first couple of times she was on, and then I don't remember how the change came about. She probably was booked on something else, and so I got to play Mother Goose, and that was fun because I had always wanted to be, to do some on-camera stuff, just because that was my what I considered my first love. And so that was fun. And my friend Carol Farabee Blackwood played the Queen of Hearts. We had so many people on there. And later on, I worked with Steve Farkas quite a bit doing musicals and having a band together and playing. And he had been one of the Valentine guards in green tights on that episode. And he said, we met. And I said, we did? When? He said, well, I was on a Barney video. I said,
wow.
Which one? So still,
Man.
I wasn't getting it, didn't remember. And then he told me which one. I went back and watched it. Yep, there he is. So with the actors in Dallas, we all got to work with many of our friends.
I know. Fun. And it's fun that I think people are shocked. They're probably running into Barney and Friends actors and cast members all the time, all over Dallas Fort Worth, and they just don't realize it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some of them they they can recognize a face because they
Right.
got to show their face.
Right. Yeah, all of
Not
us
that
are
I'm
in-
bitter.
Well, now your face though has been in a few of these, so I love the fact that you were in Pure Country.
I was. I got to meet George Strait.
Oh,
It was so
Wow.
much fun.
that
Oh,
is so.
it was so cool. It was so cool. And yeah, and then I don't know if you know that they have written a large scale stage musical about it, and I did.
not know that.
I did a version of it at Lyric in Irving,
Okay.
and Tuts down in Houston, Theater Under the Stars was just about to start a production when everything happened, and
Right.
we decided wisely that we can't gather in large groups. So I'm sure that will still happen someday.
Right.
And it was the same writer, Rex McGee, and same writer and the same songs, and so they're working on a stage version
Wow.
of it, and it's really cool. And in that version, I got to play she was the grandma Ivy, but she's Aunt Ivy now.
Okay.
Because I said, can we talk about grandma? Can we talk about that grandma name? No, but they wanted her to be a little younger, and she owns one of the local country bars, and she's a little different type of character in
Wow.
the stage version.
So they talk to you because they want to go a lot younger.
Oh, right, drastically younger. Yes.
So I just have to ask this because it's gonna be fun. But so I guess it was pretty easy for you to do that waitress. The Texas just came out doing the waitress in the.
Absolutely. In fact, I had a little discussion with the costumer. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know who I thought I was. And I said, now I'm from here. I'm from Texas. And this is a Denny's uniform you've given me to wear. And there is no Texas waitress in a small Texas town in a little cafe that would wear a Denny's uniform. She'd wear a t-shirt, pair of jeans, and some boots or tennis shoes if it was a long day.
Wow.
The costumer said, well, the uniform is approved and that's what you're wearing. And I said, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. No. But I was like, I don't understand. But yeah, it was good. And they let me ad lib. I don't know. They just somehow, some people look at me and go, why don't you just ad lib something right there? So they let me ad lib a little bit at that beginning, and George Strait was there on the other side of the counter. There were a couple of lighting things where his stand-in was there, and he came in and sat, they got the shot over my shoulder for him,
Right.
and then they did mine. But it turned out that we were down in Mayfair, Texas, and they'd taken
Where's
over that
Mayfair?
whole little,
Where is Mayfair?
Mayfair is down around, it's south of Dallas,
Okay.
and it's at that time it was a little bitty tiny community. I don't know if it's probably now it's probably some luxurious home, large luxurious
Sure.
Texas ranch homes by now.
Right.
But it's just had a little downtown that had not very many businesses actually in the building, so they were able to take it over, and they made storefronts where there were just empty buildings, and it rained 4 days in a row. We would get in there,
Wow.
we'd get started. I was supposed to have 1 day of shooting on it, and I ended up getting basically a full week out of it. But it made me, I had to fly in to start rehearsals at the Goodspeed Opera House up in Connecticut, a show that I did up there, Heartbeats, that Amanda McBroom, who wrote The Rose, wrote this
Oh, yeah.
musical. So I kept calling them going, I'm still delayed down here in Texas. Well, okay, all right. So they were very nice about it.
Right.
And so I ended up getting basically a week of shooting. Still, the scene was still that short, but it just took us that long to get to do it because rain. And even though it was indoors, it affected the lighting. That was the
Right.
thing, because they were doing so much through the window.
Wow.
But yeah, that was fun. I loved doing that.
Well, and Patsy Cline. You did Patsy Cline so many times, and people love. How did that all happen?
When I was living in New York, it was actually not too long after the Radio City video that we did. my agent called me and said there's a Theater Virginia in Richmond, Virginia, that's doing a show called A Closer Walk with Patsy Cline, and we know that you sing, you sing country, and would you like to go in for it? And I said, oh yes, I love Patsy Cline.
Wow.
And so probably I might have been one of the few actresses in New York who happened to have a red fringed leather Western jacket in her closet with matching red boots.
Of course.
And I wore that to the audition, and I walked in and I sang 2 Patsy Cline songs I loved, Crazy and Walking After Midnight. And
Wow.
the R.L. Rousey, the director, said, I believe that we have found our Patsy. And he went out in the hall and told the other ladies that were out there waiting that they had found the Patsy, and thanked them for coming. But and I thought, wow, that's kind of harsh. And I thought, no, I would rather know as an actor, if I'd been sitting out there waiting and they already knew somebody had walked in and given them what they wanted, come out and tell me, not waste my time. So but that was a very cool feeling, to know that I got it right for them. And I said I was either a very, very brave or a huge idiot to go to her home state and play Patsy Cline. But I did it up there 2 or 3 more times, and I've done it in several states in the U.S. I have portrayed Patsy Cline. And
Wow.
I think my days are gone now, but I'm hoping maybe someday I will direct it, find a new young woman with the Patsy Cline quality, and direct it, because I think her story is still so prevalent, and a good story for young women to hear and understand what it took for a woman back in the 50s and early 60s to make it in a business that was male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
And she, plus her talent, you couldn't ignore that talent.
Right.
So, and
don't you think those actresses knew when you walked in those red boots and that jacket that it was already done?
I think I heard one of them call me a tramp, but I'm not sure.
Man.
Yeah. Well, hey, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do in our business. And if it means you wear some red leather fringe every now and then on stage only, then you got,
right.
That's what you do.
Man.
So I wanted them to know that I was really authentically a country music fan, and not going to walk in there and just try to mimic, or put on. I do work at and did work at her vocal stylings, her turns of phrase, her, because it was all what she did was like no one else. And so I did everything I could to pay the best tribute to her possible, but it's only one of her. There's only one Patsy Cline.
Well, I'm presuming you grew up listening to Patsy and country,
Yes.
and that it was so
Wow.
natural for you.
My dad loved country. My mother was a show tunes
Oh, okay.
woman.
Well, there
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, she was a musician, and we played the organ at our church, and she was just a fantastic musician and music teacher and 3rd grade teacher. But Patsy Cline was one that she really loved, because she had those beautiful orchestrations in her music too. So she didn't feel like it was quite as twangy as some of the other country music.
Right.
But so yeah, I did. I grew up with that, with all kinds of music in my house. So that's another reason I felt like Barney was so important, because not everybody has parents who can play instruments and who play music all the time. So if we could be that in a child's world for an hour a day, or 2 30-minute episodes or whatever, or the time of the video, then that was important.
Yep.
That's interesting. Do you think, was it harder for you to do the vocal part or the singing of Baby Bop? Was the songs, or was it both the same for you?
Well, the beauty with the singing was that we went in and taped it, so I didn't have to keep singing, over and over and over, because that would have probably been a huge wear and tear on my voice. And you could kind of tell the times when I was doing a show at night and then Barney during the day, because Baby Bop would just have a little more rasp in her.
Man.
Or you remember Baby Bop's grandmother I used to be?
I do.
Baby Bob, Grandma needs her Vicks Vapor Rub, honey. Bring it over to Grandma now. I said some other things too that I won't say now, but we we had a good time with that. So yeah, so it would have been a little harder on my voice, I think. If we had to sing the songs over and over and over.
Yeah, if everyone sees this red on my face, it's from Julie. And this is a common thing that happened a lot of Julie, making me laugh the whole time.
I couldn't see that you were red because all I could see was purple. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
we knew we'd gotten you though when the whole Barney costume would just kind of bend over, like, oh, okay, he had to do a dip.
Well, there was times where you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I thought that for 10 years I was used to. I didn't see that one. But let's talk about this part, because that actually was a very important part for. I know Jeff and Kyle and I talked about this. When we're on set all day, and when it's 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you've been running around, that laughter and was very important to us. It was very important to us, and
wow.
I love the fact that you guys were in a booth and all that stuff, but you watched out for us, and it was the relationship was very important there, and keeping us laughing, and I remember one of my favorites was when we went to Universal and shot that video down there, and I think Patty was giving me shoulder massages at points, and people were helping Jeff, and it was a very physical.
Absolutely. Well, and you guys were outdoors. You were outdoors. There wasn't the climate control that we could have in the studio, and we were always thinking about you because we would wow, we were closed up in a booth. Wow. Well, you guys were closed up in felt. Right. And steel and whatever else was involved in those costumes, and our don't get me wrong, our people were very good about about giving you proper breaks, but you guys were also so determined to get the product right and to keep going. There would be times that each of us would get with our little mute buttons go, okay, you need a break? Do you need a break now? Let's go ahead and take a break, just to remind you that you had given as much as you needed to. Take a break, get some water, and then come back, because like really good performers, you would get into it and be enthusiastic about it and go, let us get one more. Let's get one more of that. Like it'll still be there after you get a drink of water and get some air, so you won't pass out.
Wow.
Well, but I know you understand. You just you get so focused into what you're doing. Especially when you're wearing these earbuds, you're just listening. It's basically those voices, and you're just so focused on what you're doing that you do lose sight of that at times.
Yeah. But we had your backs.
Oh, you absolutely did. And oh my gosh, the laughter and all that stuff. Especially if one of us went down, if any of us ever stumbled. Oh my goodness gracious.
We would try not to laugh. We would wait to see if you were moving and you were okay, and then there were some moments. There's some great outtake reels of all of Barney's little spills there. But,
But I think the important is that we had that relationship, that we weren't having to do extra takes, right? Because we knew each other so well, and we communicated so well. That the production actually probably went a little faster. Yeah. Because of that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it like for you? I talk about how touched I am, all the hospitals we went to, and the Make-A-Wishes. What was it like for you doing Make-A-Wishes with Baby Bob?
Well, it was. Because it was so emotional, I would try desperately to remind myself that the inherent sadness of the situation was not what that moment was about. When those children would get to come on the set and you would see the faces light up and whatever their condition was, sometimes they come and they'd have a little mask on, which We all are learning what that feels like to go, to live your life like that, and to see the parents. And I would watch the parents as much as anything, because their faces, to see their child having a joy and a pure childhood kid experience, as opposed to where they were, being helped by amazing medical personnel, but that was all their little lives sometimes had become, and all the parents' lives had become.
Yeah.
And I don't. Did you ever see the video? I tell people this as often as I can. We were approached after we did the animatronic Barney that talked to
Wow.
us, the kids' video with the BJ and Baby Bop were on video, and you had the Barney that would sit and spoke back and forth on the computer to play for the kids to play learning games and everything.
Yeah.
And St. Jude's asked for a Barney doll, and for Bob, I believe it was Bob, it could have been Bob or Dean, to voice Barney, asking the child to stay very still and very quiet and sing little songs to them and tell them how well they were doing, because those babies had to be in such radiation treatments that a parent couldn't be with them, an adult couldn't be in there, and they had to stay still. And we received video footage of several of the children of that doll doing that, and it was the most amazing thing I had ever seen. And I like when people, I wait till I get to know someone well to tell them that story, because I always say there were things that we did that we never, ever, thankfully, asked for publicity for. So all those times people were hating Barney, or you'd see Barney shoved in some trucker's.
Yeah. I maybe agree with Julie Johnson on one point. Yeah, I saw some of the Barney haters out there who didn't like Barney. Some of the Barney lovers out there who did love Barney. I've been friends with these people, and I agree with that. But, that's just me. Continue on.
Grill, that kind of thing.
Right.
I would think, it's okay. You don't know what we're doing, but it's
Yep.
okay, because hopefully, heaven forbid you ever find out where Barney is and what Barney means to children who are in desperate need. But that visual of those sweet babies looking at that doll and lying there so still, like they needed to, that is something that I will always cherish about what was done by all of us. So
Yeah, it's why I always tell people I'm the richest person on this planet, and it's for those experiences.
mhm.
It's those experiences of the Make-A-Wishes, of the hospitals, and I was so thankful that Barney insisted on doing those things.
Yeah.
Going to hospitals, and we would stop the middle of production to have a Make-A-Wish kid come on the set. And I always remember we would do one of those, and they say, "All right, now we're going to go back to." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna need a minute," because when we do these characters, you become Baby Bop or you become Barney, because they don't want to see Carrie, they want to see Barney.
Wow.
But being able to hold it together sometimes was a real challenge.
Mhm. Yes, it was, being able to just voice. Luckily, we would do a lot of the music that was already pre-recorded, because there'd be those moments where, especially when we were saying goodbye,
Wow.
that but how lucky are we that we got to be a part of their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we got the tears. We got to
Wow.
get to some laughter here. What were your favorite songs? Tell me two of your favorite Barney songs that you loved performing, or you just loved them, or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I loved, and I get comments about this
Wow.
from friends. I loved singing the dreidel song, Baby Bop. When we did our holiday album, Baby Bop
Wow.
always got, or we did a holiday concert. Baby Bop always got to sing dreidel, and I loved that.
Wow.
And of course, Mr. Knickerbocker was fun, but my big 11 o'clock number of Itsy Bitsy Spider, when I throw a boa on and grab a
Wow.
microphone, sit on a stool and sing Itsy Bitsy Spider, that was one of my favorites.
Wow.
No, I did. I loved all the music. Steve and everybody that wrote did such a good job with the writing. Even if
Wow.
we were taking tunes, you're already familiar, and they were writing new lyrics. That I have explained this to some people who wanted to criticize us,
Right.
that was important, that there be something about it that is familiar to the child, because when you already know the tune and you learn some new words, you get to accomplish something more quickly. And it just and their little minds are sponges anyway. They're just
Right.
ready for the info, and ready to sing it back. And so that I really did. I thought there was a great mix of original tunes. Of course, as we went on longer, we did more original songs. There was a great mix of original songs, and the little classic children's album kind of songs, the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and things like that. So
Wow.
it was nice to pass down those traditions and also start some new ones.
Yeah, I was thinking about also we did with dance when we started bringing in like Joel Farrell and some of these choreographers that we brought in, and there was kind of some a little bit of Barney was a little bit of Broadway there, a little
little
show.
Broadway, a little hip hop, a little
Yeah.
you name it.
Yeah.
You name it.
Wow.
Well, that was when I was glad I was in the booth with a magazine and a cup of coffee.
Wow.
We were still waiting for our mimosas. They never arrived. We would order them every morning, and they never arrived.
That's because the never mind.
I know what you were gonna say.
I always remember the Halloween one that we did, and I'm trying to think of his name that choreographed that. And we basically did Thriller, but Barney and
Wow.
the Dinos did Thriller.
Thriller, yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
God! You do rehearsal, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna need a little extra time that day that we do that number.
And remember, you were dinosaurs.
Yes.
So you could get away with a lot, but that was one of the things you guys never did. Go, I'll just throw something here. It's
Wow.
it's just for little ones. It was always choreographed within an inch of its life and executed, and and done really, really well. And they were little ones in homes all over, everywhere, mimicking all of those movements. And as I have found out, growing up to become professional singer, dancer, actors.
Yes, yes. What do you remember, Demi and Selena?
Oh,
You
yeah.
remember working with them?
I am asked about them a lot, and I always tell them
Wow.
tell people that they were both just great kids. And
Wow.
Selena, you could already see, okay, she's probably got Hollywood in her future. Demi,
Wow.
I always thought she was just one of those cute, precious, kind little girls, but she was not quite so out there with her personality and everything. She wasn't as ready, I guess, as Selena was.
Right.
She was just ready. And Demi was, and of course her character that she played too. She was a little more demure.
Wow.
And then I looked up one day because I'd lost track of her, and I looked and I went, that's Demi Lovato. That's our Demi. And like, well, she can dance, We didn't teach her that at Barney, but it was exciting for both of them, and I don't know that that certainly not all the children that we had on the show were headed down that path, and as we see for any celebrity, but especially when it starts really young, there are pitfalls. And I think both of them have worked their way through it, and God love them, they've worked through it in in America's living rooms, and every
Wow.
and tabloid journalism and that kind of stuff, and they both held their heads high and kept their dignity. So hopefully, I hope their lives are going really well right now, because they're both very sweet, deserving people.
Wow.
Well, as you remember, my brother did the recording for you guys, and I remember him coming to me and saying, that Demi Lovato's got a really, and my brother was very picky, and she's got a really great voice. That turned out.
Yeah.
That worked out.
Well, and we were actually, I remember early on, they weren't quite as, uh, well, they didn't put the same rule on the kids that they did on the adults. We were asked not to use a lot of vibrato, just straight tone singing, because they didn't want any kids, to think, oh, do I have to sound like that? So
Right.
we kept it, straighter tone and a little more childlike, if
Right.
you will, though there's some children out there that can
Wow.
sing the
Yeah.
heck out of stuff. But so I think neither of them probably were asked to give as much of a really professional vocal performance as they could, because again, I get it. You didn't want to intimidate the kid that wants to sing along but thinks, I don't sound like that, but not many people sound like that. So
Right.
sing along anyway, doesn't matter.
Well, and then talking about all that, you've done a couple albums. I worked with you on those country albums, and I absolutely love those songs.
Yeah, I have, and I sell them at my gigs.
Oh, you
some,
do?
and
Wow.
Do you sing any of those songs?
I do. When I do concerts, I sing several of them. Yeah, it was fun. It was a great chance to explore. I didn't do. Sonny Franks did a lot of the songwriting.
Yeah.
I also have songs on there from Amanda McBroom and a couple of 3 New York songwriters and people that I've known throughout my career. That offered me some great songs, and I recorded them. So it was a wonderful opportunity to then go do some concert work and taking the CDs.
I know.
Man.
Well, hey, when that's what the audience wants to take home with them, then you still do it. The certain age group, the idea of just downloading music, they like to have a CD and like to have a booklet to read about and that kind of
Wow.
stuff. So I was glad to oblige, and I'm actually still one of those. I like that little silver disc.
Well, I see those cassettes behind you, and I remember those.
Wow.
We used to
Yes.
get our playbacks were on cassettes.
Absolutely.
The songs.
Pop that into the dashboard of your car when you're driving in at 5 in the morning.
Wow.
Oh, I've got to know this before I get there. But yeah, we did. We were around for a long time.
Yeah, I've talked to Dennis. Dennis says hello. He knew we were doing this.
I did it.
One of his favorite things he's mentioned to me is recording those albums.
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember recording those albums?
Oh yes, yeah, that was great. And I mean, we got that was when you went in and you felt like, wow, we've got a string section. We got the shows had to be put together a little more quickly, but
Right.
they always sounded great too. But the albums were fun, and I loved like you were talking about going out, and doing live performances. I had somebody recently say, "Oh, we went to see the Barney at Universal." We're still at Universal? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea, because that was our first one that we did, and then we had the several live tours that went
Wow.
out. I always enjoyed recording the live tours because you could picture yourself and picture what was going to be done, and then you knew somebody would take it into the magical studio and make it all work. And so, did you ever go out on the? I'm turning into my talk show. So Carrie, did you ever go out on one of the tours? Did you go out as Barney? Is that where you started?
I did two of them. I
Yeah.
did Barney's Big Surprise and Musical Castle.
Wow.
I was out for 5 years.
How many shows a day did you guys do?
Well, we were doing like 8 shows a week.
8 shows a week?
I did over 1,000 shows in 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So when they said,
Wow.
"Do you want to do the TV show?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's probably a good idea."
Yeah.
Probably,
Well, it's very much like doing the Broadway tour of something, and then if
Right.
somebody comes and says, "Hey, would you like to go sit down and do it on Broadway?" Well, sure, I think I probably would. But
Wow.
I love touring. I love going around to all the different cities and seeing the U.S. and driving. The first tour I did of Memphis, the musical, Trey was 7th and 8th grade, and we drove the tour in my Prius. I bought a Prius so I could, yes, I just advertised Prius.
Wow.
They appreciate that.
I bought a hybrid, let's just say that. And
There you go.
we saw the US and parts of Canada, and same thing was happening and will continue to happen with this tour.
So let's talk about this tour here. How did it come about? And I've heard so much about that show, and I think it's a pretty appropriate show for these times, right? Because
It's
it was
going
people
to
helping
be-
people.
It's going to be even more pertinent. I mean, it really is,
Wow.
because we will all have now had an experience right in our homes of having to take certain actions and do certain things a different way in order to protect ourselves and protect others. That's the thing that I know a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm okay, I'm healthy, I'm safe. But, you got to protect other people too. You got to think about them. And this show was about right after 9/11 happened, the airspace in the United States was shut down, and there were planes in the air. And they had to figure out, there was no template for this. This had never happened before. And they had to figure out very quickly what to do. And in Gander, Newfoundland, there is I pointed up to the sky because it's north.
Yeah.
In Gander, there's an airport, a large airport that was big enough it was built during World War II, and it was also used for the airplanes to refuel as they did transatlantic flights. When they couldn't make it all the way into the U.S., they'd have to stop there, refuel, and then come down to the U.S. And so that airstrip was there, and this town of around 7,000 people, several little towns actually that made up 7,000 people, took in almost 7,000 passengers. And for 5 days, while the American airspace was closed, they fed them, they clothed them, they entertained them, they took care of their medical needs, they took care of their prescriptions. You don't think about it if you just suddenly plop down somewhere. They couldn't take their bags off the plane because at that point, we didn't know if 9/11 had happened because there was a bomb under the plane. Those first 24 to 48 hours, it took a long time. It took a lot of thinking to figure out how this had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the people were there, and these people, these Newfoundlanders that are just as salt of the earth, kind, good people, they survive winters that we can't even imagine. And they took everybody into their homes, their schools, their churches, the Legion Hall, wherever they could put a cot. They kept people. And the people that we meet so many of the people that were actually on the planes that come to see the show. And we've met several of our counterparts that we play in the show. They come to every opening of every company, and we now have 5 companies of the show around the world. And they're the most gentle, kind people. Nothing flummoxes them, nothing gets them upset. Oh yeah, we'll handle it. Oh, that's fine. Oh yeah. I talk to one of the women I play, Beulah Cooper. I saw her on our opening night in Seattle. I leaned over to her. They all came out and took a bow with us. All of our counterparts. Of course, the audience just went nuts because they realized, oh wait, those are the real ones. And we took a bow together. And as we were walking off stage, I said, "Thank you for everything you did." And she said, "We just did what we always do. Never thought I'd get famous for a tray of sandwiches, though." And that was it. And then we were having white wine at the bar. I mean, she didn't know. Well, thank you. Yes, we worked very hard.
Right.
No, none of that. Just oh sure, 5,000, 7,000 people just landed on you. You fed them 3 meals a day for 5 days. Think about that. And took dietary restrictions into consideration. Different religions, they couldn't eat different. That they made sure that everybody was taken care of. And that's the story that we get to tell.
Wow.
And we will, like I said, we don't know how long this will go. The thought is perhaps by the fall we'll be able to, gather in large groups again, but not until it's safe.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when it is, then we will continue and start our new normal, and we'll all be, I think, not saying that of course we've lost so many wonderful people, and that's
yeah.
the tragedy there is much like the 9/11 tragedy.
Yeah, still.
But those of us that come through it will all be better people for it, I think, and be better to our fellow human.
It's so interesting because I was with you on 9/11. We were doing the Christmas Star video in Las Colinas, and we had finished early that day and walked out to find out what was happening.
Yeah.
And then when we went back to production, we had that moment of silence. You know, it was such a surreal moment because I was in the costume.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
standing in fake snow. But we were all family, as we've talked about, and it was such a, like, it was very comforting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be with everyone, and it feels very
Mhm.
comforting right now, being here with you once again. It feels, you know.
Yeah. Well, I have told, we get asked the question a lot with audiences. We'll do talkbacks with audience members that want to stay and talk and visit with some of the actors. And almost every time we are asked, where were you on that day? And I tell them that that's when I reveal to them that I was on the Barney and Friends series. And then that starts a whole new conversation. But
Right.
I tell them that we were shooting that day, and that my call had been a little later in the day, and I had seen it on television, and I called the studios to say, we are stopping, right? And they said, no, when the kids are here, they've been here since like, what, 6:30 that morning.
Yeah.
They don't know. We're going to continue a shorter day, but we're going to continue. And then their parents, we've discussed it with their parents are going to come get them, and we'll let the parents reveal to them what they think they can understand and accept about what's happened. Let the parents. And at first I thought, oh, how can we possibly? And then now that I look back on it, I think that was exactly the right thing to do. It was just a little hard to stand there and smile and wonder what was going on, because, you know, of course they didn't want it anywhere broadcast in the building. So, but it was the right thing for our kids.
I can't even tell you how much fun this has been having you here, seeing you.
And with absolutely no wine or.
I know. I apologize. That's not typical. But with us being at home, I will make sure next time we'll have you in the studio. And
there we go.
Wow.
Have that all taken care of. There'll be a cheese plate. It'll be fabulous.
Oh, fabulous catering.
Yeah.
I love it. We'll have a virtual toast.
Well, would you sing a little to finish out? Can you give me a little I Love You?
Oh, of course.
Baby
In which
Bob?
voice?
Well, whatever.
All right.
You can do several voices if you want.
Well, there's my Janis Joplin version, but I think I'll just go with Baby Bob.
Okay.
Oh, I can't believe I'm reading this. What if I forget the lyrics? Because I never had to remember.
We did an episode with David Voss, and he made me dance again, and I forgot all kinds of stuff. So don't worry about that.
Oh my.
Funny. I'm gonna put it in my key though.
Oh my.
I love you, you love me. We're best friends like friends should be, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? I love you, Carrie.
I love you, Julie.
You
Thank
made
you so
me cry.
much. Well, we're going to have you back again.
I'm here.
Thank you so much.
I love talking about all the wonderful experiences we had.
Well, thank you
you.
so much. I love you, and thank you so much, Purple Roads fans. And remember to keep your eyes, ears, and your heart open, and you'll find your Purple Road. We'll see you next week.
So that was Purple Road, episode 22. Julie Johnson, the voice of Baby Bob. What do I think about this episode? It was amazing, though Carrie didn't say anything about wishing my 500 episode, which is coming up in about 2 more episodes from now. But anyways, guys, that was episode for us to react to episode number 497. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one, which is going to be Barney Buddy, episode 25. Barney Buddy versus Cole. But until next time, so Jefferson, goodbye, peace out, baby. We get more to react to guys very soon. Till then, the Jeff was saying out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I failed to really understand it. I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening. But I tried all the time. Why me? Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question, and the giver holds the key.